We will call to order the Monday, January 23rd, 2023 special city council meeting. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Edward.
Here.
Hatsukatinos. Here. Houston. Here. Kozak. Here. Pansera.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
President Keeler. Here. Mayor Kearns. Here. Director Dvorsky.
Here.
City Attorney Kazam.
Here.
Director Miller.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. Comments from visitors? I've received no forms. Hearing none, we will move on to the recognition resolution for Bob Dvorsky, our wonderful Director of Operations. I would entertain a motion to approve.
I would entertain a motion to read it.
We can. Would you like me to read it before we vote on it?
No.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
This motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Bob, if you could join me up front and Mayor Kearns. All right. Before we read this whole book about your life,
The first 100 years?
the first 100 years, I wanted to, if you want to come over here, we'll face this way. We have lots of people who want to tell you things sitting at these tables. So we will start here and go around.
Well, I only worked with you for a year, but I appreciate you showing me around when I first started, giving me a tour, and also I appreciate your work on the parking project and all the effort there. And thank you for everything, and I hope you enjoy your retirement.
Councilmember Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. Smells like a roast or something. No, I'll just echo similar sentiments. It's been a pleasure to work with you, Bob. And from the first time that we sat down together, so when I was thinking about running for council and laid out all of the colorful charts of the city's finances, could see your passion come through, and knew that you were a very dedicated professional and leader for the city, and have enjoyed getting to know you and working on the aggregation ad hoc committee. And thank you for your leadership there and the groundwork that you've laid, and hope you have a lovely retirement as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councilmember Eggers?
Oh, sure. It's Bob's. Congratulations on moving into your next chapter. You've been, like these guys, you've been very helpful as I came on to council. Shared with us the financial policy, the fiscal policies that we had. You were always very, patient and answering any questions that we have. And just want to thank you as we've kind of headed in this new chapter relative to our new administration building, all the things that we've just covered here tonight. You've been instrumental in making those things happen. And again, you've shepherded Director Miller into her new role, and she's been very helpful to us. And your kind of tutelage is, seen through her. So just, appreciate all of that, and wish you the best in your next.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilmember Smith?
I'd like to congratulate you, Bob, your service to the city and your public service throughout your career. I started in 2014. You and Pat Bowen, one of the first people that I spoke to upon getting elected, and you were very helpful to me. Public financing is complicated stuff, but you were always there to give great explanations, counsel, and just that I've sat on finance the whole time I've been on council and now chair it, and you've been such a big help, and it's the recognition that you've gotten from the state auditor speaks volumes. The running joke was while you were finance director that you were going to have to get a new office because you're running out of space with all the plaques that the state auditor had given you. Again, congratulations and for your wonderful work in public service, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gress.
I do not approve. I thought we had more work to do on the unsanctioned Department of Fun, but thank you for supporting me in my endeavors to be the unofficial chair of the unsanctioned Department of Fun and being supportive of my sometimes seemingly unprofessional ideas to bring the party to city council. And so now we can have a virtual party. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Bob, it's meant a lot to have you involved in the city for all these years. You arrived to help us in a time of pretty desperate need. It wasn't the end of days, but it was a time where we had a lot of room for improvement that we didn't even know we needed. And we didn't know that we had the means to do it, and you brought that to us. You've been an outstanding and dedicated part of this city, and for those of you that might only have a mild or a brief experience of years with Bob, there were very, very, very many occasions, whether publicly or privately in meetings, where quietly, softly, but with great intent, Bob was the smartest guy in the room. And we accomplished a lot because of his momentum and because of what he wanted to teach us about how to proceed. So I thank you for the foundation that you laid for us to move forward, and I'll miss you, and I wish you the best. Thank you.
This is very special. I really didn't expect it.
Can I have notes. I condensed it to one page. There's a lot I would like to say, but your accomplishments and dedication to the city has been unparalleled. It's been, well, I wouldn't disagree with anything that's been stated. I would wholeheartedly repeat them. You steered the ship. You kept us on board for 15 years. You value professionalism, you work hard, you go that extra mile. I have interrupted many family gatherings, at least one vacation, after hours. You're always willing to take a call from City Hall, whoever it is. And Bob, you take great pride in your work, and I actually think one of the greatest contributions you've made to the culture of our city is that pride and professionalism in what we do, and really bringing that sense of identity to the government of Granby Heights. I actually want to talk about something a little different and lighten it up. Bob, many of you know, and we're not going to let everybody out here talk because we'd be here all night and you've had enough long meetings in your career. But Bob, many of you know him for his brilliant mind, his financial, his financial expertise and insight, his steadfast personality, steady temperament, but he's actually a little clairvoyant, telepathic, mystical, one might say.
He's a wizard.
Many of us have had, well, some of us have been privileged to call the Hungarian psychic hotline on occasion. Bob can predict the future. Just a few examples. January of 2020. Very excited, a little nervous. From my perspective, major transition in senior leadership. We were trying to replace several department heads, And about 6 weeks in mid-February, Bob and I were both at City Hall working on a Saturday, and I was reading the news. I was getting a little nervous. Walked over to the fire duty crew, and they didn't make me any less nervous about what was going on in the world. And I consulted the Hungarian psychic hotline, and I'm like, is it getting a little weird out there? It's like, yeah, it's getting weird. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go buy the toilet paper. And I did. I bought 12 cubes of toilet paper. So that was number one. Number two, and this was all in like 2 months, sold me on you. Chief Tom McCann gave me 2 weeks notice of retirement. Again, like the whole place was shutting down. It was like March 17th, first day of the shutdown. Called up the Hungarian. Should we have food at the retirement gathering? Is it safe? Hell yeah, we're gonna have food. We had Cheryl's cookies, threw together a toast. It was beautiful. And then come April, everybody remembers the sense of bizarre, lack of leadership at times, and nobody knew what was going on. We were not getting clarity. We had parks programs to run. We had a pool to open. And I wrote down a quote, Mayor, I've seen this movie before. They're going to announce it on a Friday afternoon, and they're going to pass the buck to the local officials. You're going to have to decide about the pool. And you were right. And time and time again, I learned that HPH, Hungarian Psychic Hotline, knows the deal. So, you're not only psychic, you care just as much about Grandview Heights as all the electeds up here, as many of our residents. It shows, and I'm very appreciative that put all the financial stuff aside, you've instilled that pride of profession and that pride of place in our employees who serve the community and take it on as their service. So for a life of service, well-deserved, you have left the city better than you found it, way better than you found it, and everybody out here knows that, and so you deserve it. Congratulations.
In true Bob style, I brought props. So.
What props? Oh.
So I would like to thank you that you helped me navigate a lot of waters that I did not know, and you made it fun along the way, and I learned so much from you, and so I'm so thankful. So as parting gift, number one, I wanted to make sure that you had your own as well as a big pencil to write down all the big things you're going to do. So there's that. And with that, let's get that on to our book that we're going to read. Once Upon a Time in Grandview Heights. All right, resolution to recognize the contributions of retiring Director of Operations Robert Dvorsky to the success of the city of Grandview Heights. Whereas Robert Bob Dvorsky will retire from public service on January 31st, 2023 after 45 years of employment. And whereas Bob earned success and respect as a public accounting professional, first with the University of Wisconsin at Madison, then returning to Ohio to join the Finance Department of Fairfield County, and eventually to fill a vacancy in the city of Grandview Heights. And whereas the city is grateful for Bob's many contributions, from the time council appointed him as finance director on June 18th, 2008 to his current role as director of operations. Whereas under Bob's leadership in the finance department, he extended the tax team, standardized procedures, and professionalized the office while leading the department and administration through several bumpy times. And whereas during his tenure as finance director, the department earned and maintained the distinction of being recognized annually by the state auditor and the Government Finance Officers Association for outstanding financial reporting, a feat that is relatively rare among small communities. And whereas, under Bob's leadership, the city was able to obtain a bond rating from unrated in 2004 to its current AAA standard and 4-month rating, which has helped position the city to obtain critical bond financing for improvements at Pierce Field and Marvin Woods and the new municipal pool and the new municipal works complex on McKinley Avenue. And whereas Bob's support to the administration on economic development incentives has created financial sustainability through the addition of over 4,600 jobs, 2 hotels, and multiple office structures. And whereas through his tenure with the city, Bob has been committed to providing understandable and transparent fiscal information, infamously using colorful props to convey what might otherwise be dense data. Whereas Bob has helped instill a spirit of communication, collaboration, and cooperation among the city's departments. And whereas Bob's efforts have contributed to the high quality of life and services in the city, which in turn helps attract further investments and new residents, and also benefits our key partner, the Granby Heights City School District. And whereas Bob's sense of fun has been a hallmark of his tenure at the city, showcasing many jokes and rubber chickens and being affectionately known by some as the Hungarian ambassador. And whereas the city is grateful for the many years of leadership and dedication of Bob Dvorsky and wishes to publicly express appreciation for his contributions to the city's fiscal and economic transformation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Granby Heights that January 31st, 2023 is hereby declared as Bob Dvorsky Day in the city of Granby. If you would like to.
You know, in high school, I didn't talk at all. I didn't know if I was smart or not. I never raised my hand. They couldn't pronounce my last name. I mean, I never said anything. So this is really cool. I made a few notes. You know, by the way, my best hire 14 years ago was right there. Give her a round of applause. You know, I have to chuckle. Ray one time says, he says, I've been doing this a long time. There's only two things I'm afraid of. One is state budget cuts, or two, Bob with a microphone, a stage, and an audience.
There's no microphone.
I spent 15 years of my 45-year career here at the city of Grandview Heights. I was 22 years old when I started working for the state of Wisconsin. It's kind of been a backwards career. A lot of times people go from smaller entities to bigger, but I went just the opposite. I started state agency, the UW Controller's Office, OSU, Fairfield County, and then here. And I learned something along the way at every one of those adventures from a variety of very smart people. I had great mentors here at Grandview Heights. Several former council members, which are here tonight. I mean, we've got Milt Lewis, who was on council before. You're in good hands with him with the new municipal building. He'll build you a fabulous building. You got Steve Papineau here. He taught me a lot about how to take what you do in government and actually apply it. From this private sector appearance, so it's relevant. And so I was very grateful for everything that I learned from him. Susan Jagers and Liz Kelker were two of the people that first hired me, and so I'm grateful for that. And Susan I learned a lot from too, because she's always so steady at everything that we did. She came back and served on the JEDZ board, and she taught me how to just nudge people in the right direction sometimes. Not shove them, just nudge them to get that. So I learned something from her as well. And then Anthony Panzera, my God, 6 terms on council. So I talk about somebody who truly loves the city. That's really super impressive, and he's been great. And it's so important that your bosses trust you. So like when I started, Ed Hasty said, "Hey Bob, you're doing great the first couple months. Run with it. Just promise me that you'll sound the alarm if things go sideways." And I said, "Fine." Anthony was council president, and he started every council finance committee meeting with, "Take it away, Bob." It was almost like it was unscripted. It was choreographed, but I mean, if to have your bosses trust you like that hey, the city is yours, I mean, that means a lot to a person. And then, these two characters back there, Pat Bowman and former Mayor Ray DeGraw, I mean, how many of us actually have gotten to work with people who have a street named after them and a parking lot? When I hang around all these talented people, how could I not be successful? You know, they made the difference in my life. And those two gentlemen are first-class gentlemen all the way. And then finally, there's three people in the room who know that this was my second favorite job of all time. And there's two little redheads back there, and my wonderful wife Victoria of 25 years. My favorite job is being a daddy. And when I took this job, I asked Susan if I could start. I started this job on a Wednesday because that Monday was Lila's birthday. And I was determined to have daddy-daughter time. We went up to Cedar Point, and I would not start till Wednesday, and Susan said, fine. And so being a daddy is the best job in the world, but Grandview Heights, working here last 15 years, is my second favorite job. And for that, I thank you.
Recess, but before we do, Bob, I just wanted to dismiss you one last time, and as always, you're welcome to stay and with the fun, but you don't have to.
Emily,
Yes.
if I may, can I read this before we?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, two things. Bob didn't tell you that he does have something named after him. It's a drink at the Grandview Cafe. And I wrote a little ode to Bob. Excuse me, just indulge me, please. It's very short, but you will recognize some notes there.
It's a sonnet.
Yes, it is. There once was a happy Hungarian.
Wow, I was right.
Who liked chickens. He's no vegetarian. He did wonders with numbers without having to plunder the checkbooks of our proletarians, because it's hard to rhyme with Hungarian. We know Ambassador Bob likes chickens, whether they're fried or in your yard and still kicking. He's a punster, our Bob, and you'll laugh but not sob. And by salmonella, you won't be stricken. His taste, well, it may be acquired, but his humor is exactly required. For this job to accept, one just can't neglect that it's best to crack up than in chicken poop be mired. Bob studied egg counting in college, or accounting. He wasn't expelled, he got knowledge. He had great expectations for numbers applications, and he's feathered our nest, or rather our cage, because nest doesn't rhyme with college. When you meet all the eggheads Bob's hired, you'll say, wow, he was really inspired to create chicken pie charts and use all of their smarts to bring revenue to our little shire. For years, Bob has ruled the finance roost in search of chicken nuggets to buy a new coop. AAA bonds we got to make buildings last a lot of years to help house this excellent group. And now Bob has decided to exit the halls of the city to get home to watch chick flicks with his lovely wife Vic, while we'll be here Monday nights making edits.
About 20 minutes or so for join us, and then we'll